guys, so as you might have heard a few days ago, news broke, well, sort of broke, from a pretty reputable source that the second anthology Star Wars movie coming out in, let's see, 2018, yeah, coming out in 2018 is going to be a Boba Fett origin story. Now let me start this off by saying I'm not even sure that I believe this story completely because it hasn't been confirmed by Disney, so I'm thinking that either parts of it are wrong, if not the entire thing is just completely off. For starters, the article explained that this was going to be taking place in a separate universe of sorts. That I can tell you is 100% false. They either don't know what they're talking about, or they misreported it. There's no way that Disney, after being so dead set on doing everything canon going forward, is going to be like, oh yeah, by the way, this will be an alternate universe. They're not going to do it. It's not going to be Legends. That's not going to happen, which makes me suspect of the whole story to begin with. But more importantly, I think this is a bad idea. First of all, everyone says they love Boba Fett, but even with the Clone Wars and the different things that we learn about him in the prequels, he's not a very well developed character. He's not a Yoda. He's not in one of the main three. He's not even an Obi-Wan or anything like that. So I know he has cool armor. I like the Mandalorians like anybody else. I love Boba Fett for what he is, but to take that really secondary character and to make a whole film about his origin story when we really already have his origin story. Not only do we have a lot of it from the prequel trilogy, but the Clone Wars had several episodes that included him as a young boy / teenager doing various things against the Jedi, and I'm not going to go into too much spoilers because you do need to watch the Clone Wars cartoon. It's awesome. But yeah, so this is just a bad idea for so many reasons. If you're telling me that there's going to be a movie based on bounty hunters, I'm on board. And you're telling me that Boba Fett is going to be one of those bounty hunters, I could still be on board. But don't tell me you're giving me a Boba Fett origin story. That just screams pandering to fans / bad idea written all over it. I just don't feel like that's a story that needs its own movie. A comic book, awesome. Cartoon, awesome. If he wants to pop up in Rebels, because he's definitely around in that time period, super double awesome. I actually think that would be an awesome idea. But you're telling me you're going to give Boba Fett his own movie? Save that for 2030 when we're out of ideas and new stories. Not, the second anthology film when there's so many more stories you could cover. I mean, if you really want to go prequel, which just going backwards in time really scares me, other than the first anthology film, because I feel like that's in an era with Rebels where there's really a lot of good storytelling yet to be told there. But don't tell me that we're going to go back in time and see Boba Fett as a little kid again. I'm still trying to get over the fact that he's a clone and that they changed. I mean, I still have nightmares about the fact that they changed his voice whenever they re-released, I think in 2005, when they re-released Star Wars on DVD, and they redubbed his voice. I mean, to go off on a little bit of a tangent here, that did not need to happen. People said, oh no, I like that they did that because it made sense, because he was a clone, he was going to sound. First of all, in the Clone Wars, not all the clones sound identical to the guy in the movie. Second of all, he has a mask on, which is going to make his voice sound more monotone and grumbly. And there's a million explanations for why his voice wouldn't be exactly like his dad's. And it wasn't so different that it needed to be changed. But just the way that, and forgive me, I forget the actor's name, who did the voice for the original Boba Fett, but he nailed it. And I know because of what I've read online, a lot of people agree with me. The first Boba Fett voice sounds tough and menacing and almost like he's talking down to Vader. So that's why everyone, I mean, yes, the armor's cool, but the reason people really liked him is because he was a cool looking character. He was mysterious because you never saw his face and you didn't really know his backstory, but you knew he was a badass because he was able to kind of talk down to Vader like, what if he doesn't survive? He's worth a lot to me. He wasn't like the new guy who's like, you know, I don't want to overdo it, but he's basically like, Vader, well, what if he doesn't survive? Like, I'd like him to survive. No, the original Boba Fett was like, no, I'm the man, I'm a bounty hunter, I play by my own rules. If you say no disintegrations, I'll see what I can do, but no promises, boss, because I'm Boba Fett. Alright, now let me also say, just for the record, if the prequels hadn't have happened, I would be a lot more open to a Boba Fett origin story. Definitely. Even though I'm a little worried, or I would be worried about removing some of the mystery of the character, because I think that really makes him cool, but I could definitely see him, I think he would have best been served, and still might best be served, as a side character in another movie. Maybe even the Rogue One movie. But to have his own movie where you're going to go into how he became a bounty hunter and his, you know, how him as a little kid, I don't know that I want to see him as a kid. Maybe I could understand seeing him in his early 20s, or even as like a late teenager, 18, 19, where he's still a badass. But I think if Phantom Menace taught us, you know, if we're going to learn from the Phantom Menace, oftentimes when you take such a badass character that you've already seen as an adult, it doesn't really work very well to show them as a child. It's just so easy to mess up and feel, you know, cheesy and just, I mean, Phantom Menace, I don't even have to say anything else. So this video has already gone on long enough. I've rambled on about my different issues with the prequels, as usually happens in these videos. But the main thing I want to convey is I don't think this is a good idea right now for his own standalone movie. I think it would be a better idea for his own standalone movie if we didn't already have the prequels and the Clone Wars, because I think you've really limited yourself on the story you can tell. I think, considering the fact that we do have the prequels and the Clone Wars, and those are canon, you do have to work around those, I think he would best be served as being a side character in maybe a team of bounty hunters in a, you know, in a movie about bounty hunters, where he's not the main character and he's not a child, you know, where maybe it's in the kind of in the Rebels time period, you know, right before A New Hope, something like that. I think would really work, or maybe even before Episode 5, you know, kind of while this is happening, bounty hunters are over here on their own little adventure. And I'm not 100% sure that that's not what we're actually going to be getting, and that we had sort of a game of telephone where it started out as, hey, Disney's doing a bounty hunter movie, and then that person told someone else, hey, Disney's doing a movie about a bounty hunter, and then someone said, oh, bounty hunter movie, Boba Fett movie, and then someone else said Boba Fett origin story movie. And so my money is still on we're going to get because there have been rumors about a movie based on just bounty hunters, you know, not Boba Fett, but a group of bounty hunters. So my thinking is, if I had to put money down, is that that's the movie we're going to get. That's going to be the second anthology film, because a lot of people rumored that was going to be the first anthology film, and since we now know that it's going to be Rogue One and probably not based on bounty hunters, I'm thinking that maybe those rumors can kind of drift over towards maybe that's what we're going to get in the second film, and that this release, this story kind of, you know, was off by a few marks, and that we are going to get a movie about bounty hunters with Boba Fett, but it's not going to be the quote-unquote Boba Fett origin story where he's a little kid running around. That would be silly. So yeah, I think I've gone on long enough. If you didn't notice, this is my new mug. Kind of want to show it off. Drink a little root beer out of it. It's not coffee. It's too late to be drinking coffee right now. But yeah, and just to show it off a little bit more, one of my favorite Star Wars quotes is, "Do or do not, there is no try." So when I saw this for $4, had to get it. Thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe, and as always, may the Force be with you.